Once again, you're doing this tactic.
Because it's not a tactic, it's facts.
What we're talking
It's facts.
about to some other reason.
It's facts. Because I find it hard to believe that
I'm gonna
all
let
of
the
a sudden
state,
nobody hears what I say.
I'm going to let the state make a
Stop.
record of why they
Stop.
believe it's objectionable, because I haven't let them do that.
We go over the top 5 outbursts of defendant Darrell Brooks in the Waukesha Parade tragedy trial. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. The trial of Darrell Brooks Jr. out of Waukesha, Wisconsin has really been something else. On one hand, we can't forget what this trial is about. You have a defendant who's been charged with over 70 crimes for allegedly driving his SUV into a group of holiday parade goers back on November 21st, 2021, ultimately resulting in the death of 6 people and injuries to dozens of others. And this is a very serious case and a very tragic case. But at the same time, we can't forget that this trial is incredibly unique and strange because the defendant has chosen at the very beginning of trial to represent himself. And it has been a roller coaster ride of fights between him and the judge, him getting kicked out of court. He took his shirt off at one point, and he brings up these legal theories that seemingly have no basis in fact or law that delay the whole proceedings. And this is partially due to the fact that we believe Brooks identifies as a sovereign citizen. This is someone who believes that they're not under the jurisdiction or authority of the government. So we thought, why not revisit the top 5 outbursts of Darrell Brooks during this trial? And I'd like to start with a particularly bad one. You see, at one point, Brooks called as a witness his ex-girlfriend, Erica Patterson, as he was presenting his case. Now, she had previously testified for the state, and it's alleged that Darrell Brooks, got into a fight with Erica Patterson and attacked her right before he drove his car into the parade. So when she was on the stand, he wanted to show that she wasn't a good mother and that she's not a credible witness and that she wasn't telling the truth, particularly about the last time that she had had contact with him. And that's when, while she's on the stand, he pulls out these photographs, and the state objected because they hadn't been shown these before. And outside the presence of the jury, prosecutor Zach Witchow talked about what would happen if these photos were allowed in, and he revealed something very bad about Brooks' past. And as you'll see, Brooks was not too happy about it.
3, I believe that these photographs are designed to make a suggestion to the jury that Erica Patterson is a bad mom. I think that is what the defendant is trying to do. And if we're going to go down that road, then we would be forced to counter that claim. First of all, it doesn't make her an incredible witness, if it's even true. And second of all, if we go down that road, we would be forced to counter that claim by pointing out that not only does the defendant not live with the child in question, he doesn't live with any of the other children that he has. He impregnated Erica Patterson when she was a minor in Nevada, and for doing so, he was convicted of statutory sexual seduction, pled guilty in March of 2007 to that felony offense, and is a sex offender on the registry as a result. So if there's any causation that would lead to Erica Patterson being a bad mom, Mr. Brooks has a direct role in that causation.
And that's
Furthermore,
I object to that.
I'm not
because
done.
That's a lie.
Let him
Because at the end of the day,
Let
if
him finish,
we're gonna open the door
Mr.
on that, no,
Brooks.
since he want to make a record and not be accurate, so let's be accurate all on the record. Since you think you know so much,
Once
so
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she
disrespectful,
was when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask that question
He is
too. Then
over the
Did you
top
ask that?
animated
Did you
right
know
now.
that?
Mr. Brooks, I'm ordering you to sit down and to let the state
no,
finish.
no, I'm not going to sit here and let somebody be inaccurate on the record and lie on the record.
Right. Under Illinois versus Allen, I've warned him repeatedly. He's being removed from the courtroom. And you know what? Let me dial that back. We're just going to take an early lunch, 1 hour. We'll be back. And unless he brings that letter and he can show it is inadmissible, she will not be questioned. And under 906.11, I will declare the cross-examination closed. Thank you. We're in recess. 1 hour.
Get your facts straight. So let's open the door on all of it then, so we can get all of it on the record. Since you think you know so much. Did you know she said she was 18 when I met her? Did you know that?
Now, luckily, as I said, this was outside the presence of the jury, and that is a very good thing for Brooks that they didn't see that. Clearly, he's trying to relitigate his past relationship that he had with Patterson and whether or not he should have been convicted of that sex crime. And of course, this is just another example of him being removed from the courtroom. You know, look, Brooks has repeatedly made statements that this process is totally unfair, that he's not being heard, and he adamantly denies that he's trying to deliberately obstruct the proceedings. He feels that he's just trying to get his word out and his rights protected. In fact, in another major outburst and show of disrespect to the court and the procedure, he yells at the judge about what this trial is about.
I don't care what you believe fully.
All right.
It's not a game. I don't take this as a game. That's what nobody, you don't got to explain nothing to me. That's what you don't understand. You think that this is a whole game to me. This is not a game to me, Your Honor. Nothing about this is a joke. That's what y'all don't understand.
But there's
and it's unfair. It's unfair and it's disrespectful to me that you think I would come in here purposely and treat this like a joke or a game.
I never said it was a joke.
What type of statement is that?
Mr.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So I think, Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you should show some respect.
We're going to take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, the jury's coming out, and you need to call your next witness. Thank you. We are in recess.
No, you're not rushing me to judgment. I don't care what you're talking about.
Unbelievable that he's saying this to a judge. A judge. I sometimes have to remind myself who he's speaking to. And, you know, there is so much discussion about Judge Darrow here showing this restraint. You know, why didn't she kick him out of the courtroom sooner? Why didn't she kick him out multiple times? And I think there's one theory that at least I believe is that she is giving him so much leeway, so much opportunity to reel himself in. And she's deliberately making sure that she doesn't prematurely silence him or kick him out of the courtroom too quickly. Because the theory is that if he's convicted, an appellate court then can't say that she was unfair to him, right? The only person who buried his case was Darrell Brooks himself, that she wasn't being unfair or violating his rights, that she gave him every opportunity to correct his behavior. And some believe that this is a sign that he shouldn't be allowed to represent himself anymore, but that's his right. And while there could be opportunities for judges to step in and say that the defendant is not competent and an attorney should be assigned at this point, this judge is not at that point. She believes that he is doing all of this deliberately to delay these proceedings, and he knew what he was getting himself into when he decided to represent himself. And I think at the very least, it seems that Mr. Brooks has issues with authority, because if you listen to what he said to Judge Darrow multiple times, this one in particular was really egregious.
I'm a grown man with grown kids. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you ask me to do, not tell me. Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive. Come on, man. Stop. Just stop it.
Jury's coming out.
All rise for the jury.
Not gonna work.
And that is not the only time that he barked at the judge and told her what her job should be.
If you don't make a record,
so
then
what?
I can't make a ruling.
It threw people off a loop. They weren't ready for it. They scared of it. That's what it is. Come on, man.
Mr. Brooks.
Come on, man. Stop.
When you
Stop
aren't
it.
even
Stop it.
letting
You're a
me
public
ask
servant, Your Honor. I respect your courtroom. I respect you. You're a public servant, though. Your job is to be the referee. Is it or is it not? You stated so yourself on record that your job is being the umpire.
Your Honor, can I ask Ms. Patterson please be excused?
Yes, you can be excused. My apologies.
My apologies too, but it needs to be some truth. Especially when we're talking about stuff that didn't even happen, but they're allowed to get on the stand and say that it happened when they know it didn't happen.
So I'm going to make a record about what
This
he's
is
referring
ridiculous,
to
man.
in count 77.
Truth be told, I could do a 2-hour show on all of the disruptions and the hostile moments in court. But I have to tell you, after reviewing it, there is one moment in particular, one time when I was actually nervous for the safety of the people in the courtroom, and including the judge. And this came about when the prosecution started presenting an issue and how the prosecutor, Sue Opper, said the word defendant. Take a look.
There's an issue that we do need to take up potential as to a witness by the name of Abel Lescano. He has prior criminal history.
Thank you.
So as long as the jury's out, we should probably discuss that. I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy.
So that had to be said. So it's the defendant.
That's not how it was said.
That was how I said.
completely
You want to run the
disagree.
record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one. I
Mr.
got
Brooks.
one ear that work, and I heard that.
This
Come on,
is
man.
to benefit
man.
you so
No,
that
it's
you
not.
understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit me,
witness
so let's be
has
clear
a
about
prior
that.
record.
Your Honor, when I leave the table, I'm away from the courtroom and I have to elevate my voice. This is the
So she had to
alleged
elevate her
record
voice
of
just for
ableist
that.
Stop talking.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I accept the value in return for value this document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next courtroom.
That's what you want to do anyway.
It's not what I want to do. Do not interrupt Attorney Opper.
So can
Your
you
Honor,
tell,
I
can you
believe he
explain-
has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
So, as we record this, we are coming to the end of the Darrell Brooks trial. After the judge deemed Brooks was non-responsive to her question, she ruled that Brooks forfeited his right to call more witnesses or even testify himself. He has been repeatedly kicked out of the courtroom. In fact, he's spending the majority of his time outside of the courtroom in that adjacent courtroom. And after the judge reads the jury instructions, we go to the closing arguments, and then this case is handed off to the jury. They're going to have 152 verdict forms. That is a lot of paperwork, a lot for them to decide. And I'll tell you one thing, all said and done, this is certainly a case that we won't forget. And thanks, everybody, for joining us here on Sidebar. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.